friends. Hope you're doing well. Today, drinking Celsius. I don't know if I've talked about this or not, but apparently this is like the only energy drink you can drink that's like remotely healthy for you or good for you. So yeah, drinking it. Got orange flavored. Orange flavor's pretty good. The watermelon flavor, not good. Don't get watermelon. Orange is pretty solid. It's kind of the taste of it is it's kind of Gatorade-ish. It doesn't have a bite like most energy drinks or sodas. I don't know. Feels good. Feels clean. You can actually understand what's in the ingredients because it's the ingredients are carbonated filtered water, citric acid, natural flavor, sucralose, beta carotene for color, and that's it. Oh wait, that's other ingredients. Where are the other ingredients? There's more ingredients. I don't know where they are. Maybe it's this: taurine, guarana extract, caffeine, ginger extract, green tea leaf extract. It's a proprietary blend. I don't know. I'm not sure about it, but that's what's in it. I like them. They're pretty good. They're a little pricey. They're like $2 each. It's just, I mean, that's energy drink prices. I'm sure this stuff will cost like 4 cents to make. So it goes. Anyway, how are you doing? I am doing interesting. I made a video yesterday talking about how the year was going pretty good so far, and by most metrics, it's going pretty good. I just feel like I'm not super happy with the way things are going. As weird as that sounds, like on paper, I'm doing pretty good. Hitting my goals, hitting the targets, more or less. I'm a little behind in some places, but I'm doing okay. I'm making good money. I'm getting jobs. I just don't feel great. I think mentally, I really don't. Like, I feel like I'm not super enthralled with the work I'm doing. I feel like the work I'm doing, I'm not really challenged by it. So there's that. Because I feel like it's a lot of repetition, which is fine. And I read in James Clear's Atomic Habits, he talks about how it's a quote from somebody else, but I know from the Atomic Habits book. He talks about the expert or the pro, the person who's the master of something. Is it really that they just have some innate talent, or are they just able to withstand the boredom? And you're like, that's kind of true. And so that, I feel like with work, I feel like it's just a lot of repetition, and part of it is because it's kind of a lot of the same jobs over and over again. It's like they're talking head videos where it's like you interview somebody and then you shoot some B-roll and then that's it. And I'm not doing a lot of photography jobs because most of my photography work is event photography work. And so, with no offense, there's not a lot of need for an event photographer. Which that's what I really like doing is event photography, I feel like. And it's just not out there. So that I think has kind of been bumming me out a little bit. And then with hockey, I feel like I've been putting in a lot of effort. And I feel like when I get on the ice for the games, like I feel like I'm playing okay. I'm playing pretty well. I'm not playing at the top of my level that I have been playing at. But I go out there and I feel like I'm performing adequately and consistently. And it's just not turning into like anything impressive. You know what I mean? Like I'm not getting any goals. I'm not getting any assists. I've got a lot of penalties because I'm very big and I'm stable on my feet because I played hockey for a long time, and most of the people I play hockey with, are newer people, so they don't have years of skating experience. So people will run into me and fall over because I'm much larger than them and much more confident on my skates, which it is what it is. So I get penalties for that. shots off if they get any shots at all. So in that respect, I'm doing okay, I guess. And so, but it's just like, I think what it comes down to maybe is just the quantification of that, of how do you, like, you can track my plus minus. Plus minus is how many goals has your team scored versus how many goals have you let in while you're on the ice. So my plus minus for the year, I think it's like -1 in 6 games or something like that. It might be 0. It's 1, 0, or -1. It's pretty balanced. Which tells me, like, they're not scoring when I'm on the ice, but we're not scoring when I'm on the ice, and I want to be scoring, and if I'm not scoring, at least I want my team to be scoring. So that, like, other than that, without people, watching and having video to go back and get stats, you really don't get a lot of stats. You get goals, assists, and penalties, and you can kind of calculate your own plus minus, which obviously is not very accurate. And so I just don't, I feel like the work is just not that exciting. I love hockey. I love going out there, getting on the ice. So there's that. And I just don't know, what to do. I don't like Kanye West that much. He has a couple really good songs, but I think as a human, he's kind of, he needs some help. I'll just say that, I'll leave that at that. I'm sure everybody can agree with that statement. But he has a song called I Wonder. That's his best song, I think, in my opinion. And it talks about how there's a line in it, and I think the line is something like, "It ain't happened yet, and that's where the tuition is." And you're like, yeah. So I'm gonna go listen to I Wonder and cry and shoot pucks until my arms fall off the garage. And be like, yeah, Kanye, I'm gonna get there too. What was that? I don't know. Something happened. Anyway, yeah, but I just like, and so I'm making YouTube videos because I like doing it. It's fun. It's exciting. I'm scared. I'm so scared of making. I don't know why this comes so easy. Probably because the reason why I'm scared of those other channels is they don't have any videos, and so it's the Pandora's box of like, could be amazing or could be shit. Because this is shit, but I love doing it, so I'm gonna keep making shit for you folks. Oh, there's some guy out there that wants to show people how cool he is by driving really fast down the street. Great. Sweet, bro. Anyway, I don't know if you can hear that was a car. Getting off topic. So yeah, and then I'm just like, I feel like I'm working, but I'm not seeing the results from it. And I know Ryan Holiday, stoic author guy, talks about how, we're not entitled to our results, we're only entitled to the efforts of our work. And I'm like, okay, shut up. Like, I want to score goals, and I want to go back to event photography, to bring some events back. No one's wearing a mask anyway. The COVID numbers are still through the roof. But at the same time, like, I had COVID, and it was not a good time, and mine was super mild. But it's just like, obviously, at this point, I feel like COVID won at this point, really. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about other things. Let's talk about things we can change. Because that's something I've been trying to focus a lot on. Is like, okay, what can you do about it? And if the answer is nothing, then you kind of need to take away, like, well, if the answer is I can't do anything about it, like I cannot or I will not do anything about it, then I need it to not let it affect me. And again, going back to Ryan Holiday, which is probably a quote from Marcus Aurelius or Seneca, is that, like, I think the quote is something like, this doesn't have to upset you, like, you don't have to have an opinion about things. And you're like, yeah, the more things, if you could just be like, I don't have an opinion about that, and like, just don't let things, if you cannot or will not do something about it, then you have to find a way for it to not upset you. And that's where I'm at. I think the doesn't sound like a big deal. You're like, oh, okay, new library. And then they announced like, oh, and they're also gonna put a skyscraper there instead. Which I don't think it's a skyscraper. It's relatively in Omaha. I think our tallest building is 44 floors. And so this new one's gonna be 600 feet, I think, is what they said, which is roughly 60 stories, something like that. I think it's somewhere in the 50 to 60 range. It kind of depends on how tall the ceilings are. I think what I've been told is like you ballpark 10 feet per story, which I don't know if that's true or not. So it might only be 40 stories. I don't know shit about stuff. So, like on paper, that sounds great. You're like, okay, library is moving to a new place, cool, and they're building a skyscraper there. You're like, cool, okay. The problem is, at least from what I can tell, the sale price for the land that the library's on, which is theoretically the most valuable property in town right now, they're selling it for like $5 million, and the city is paying to demolish the library, which is fucking insane. As a side note, we got another, in the deal, we also get another property that's like a couple blocks away. But like even with that other property that's a couple blocks away, it's that land right there that's overlooking this beautiful, huge new park. It's like Omaha's Central Park. You could think of that, but like it's a lot fucking smaller, and a lot less cool. But it's that's the big park downtown, and so they're putting Mutual of Omaha is moving from their midtown location to this new tower, and it's just like nothing about it. It feels like everything was done with like no bids, no request for proposal. It was all done behind closed doors, and like it's all going to like the people that donated to the current mayor's campaign, and the current mayor is like, a lot of people don't like her on both sides. I don't like her because I don't feel she's not an authentic person, and I feel like she doesn't do a very good job. Like regardless of what your politics are, if it's not an election year, like the roads don't get plowed very well, the sidewalks do not get shoveled, like basic stuff. Like we don't have enough police officers, but we're overpaying our police officers, which is fucking insane. Like it's, so there's a Twitter account called, I think it's called Omaha Scanner or something like that, and basically they just listen to the police scanner and they tweet interesting, funny things that come across the scanner. And one thing that you see tweeted a lot is no cars available citywide, or a police officer from one precinct has to go all the way across town to respond to a call. And it's like, okay, yeah, okay, like that's not great. But then every year the police budget goes up, and so it's like, how do we still not have enough police officers? And there's like all these problems with the police office. There's these weird loopholes in the police officer pension that they can spike their pension, because their pension's based off of like the last X number of years they worked. And so what police officers will do is they will, and they have this set up in the police department. They know like that's the loophole. You want to get as much money as you can when you retire in your pension, which makes sense. But it's like it's costing the taxpayers money, and so now we're paying all this money for pensions, because the last like 2 years they spike their pensions, and so now we're paying them more to be retired than we were whenever they were working, which is crazy. And we don't have enough cops, and like the response time is shit, and the clearance rate for like violent crimes is better than most cities, so that's good. But it's like the mayor is buddies with the chief of police, and her and the fire department like fight all the time. And so it's just really frustrating to live in a town that's just so, it's just like basic stuff. Like the road maintenance is shit because the plows don't come through. The roads don't get treated properly before ice storms, so we have accidents, and the cops are too busy. So the cops are like, we can't do your accident exchange insurance information unless no one's hurt. And you're like, these are basic things. Like we don't have bike lanes because the mayor won't spend money on them. They're putting in a streetcar for some fucking reason. We have a rapid bus transit thing, as the suburbs, because the East End, the downtown, butts right up to the river, which that's Iowa on the other side of the river. It's Council Bluffs. But the Council Bluffs is considered in the Omaha metro area. That's neither here nor there. So we have the bus rapid transit that goes from the downtown tip, the river basically, all the way out to West Omaha. Like, not the furthest point of West Omaha, but like on the main street, it goes all the way out and makes a couple stops at like relevant places. And places where you could park and then ride the rest of the way downtown. So it's a good system. This new streetcar is going to cost like $300 million. And the route, they announced the route of the 3 miles the streetcar covers, 2.6 of those miles are 2 blocks away from the bus rapid transit. It's a straight shot. And it's like, if you're not already riding the bus transit, you're not going to be riding the streetcar. Like, you might ride it as like a novelty, like, let's go ride the streetcar, like, oh, this is pretty cool, this is pretty neat, but that's it. Like, it's where it transverses are not really a population center. It's not really a tourist destination. So it's like, who the fuck is it for? Why are we spending $300 million to put a track in the fucking road when we can't keep up our roads? We can't plow our roads. Our sidewalks are shit, and we don't plow our sidewalks, which is, for not plowing shit. That's why it gets so fucked up every year. Angy. I'm angy about it, okay? I'm fired up. Stuff in Omaha's. And then the property taxes here are really expensive, which is like, that doesn't affect me really because I live in a fucking apartment, but I know the apartment people are paying the property taxes. And then the leaders have the gall to be like, why are the young people leaving Omaha? Why are the young people leaving Nebraska? And it's like, because you know what? If you're going to be conservative, okay. Like, that's not my politics. But, like, at least do your fucking job right. Like, if you're going to be saving money in some things, like, shouldn't it make sense? Like, it's way cheaper to plow the fucking roads than it is to fix all the potholes. Like, there's no way with the amount of potholes we have. And here's another thing, that just to illustrate the point of, like, how bad are the roads in Omaha? There are public roads in neighborhoods where the city has decided to just grind up the roads and leave them as gravel because it's too expensive to maintain. We don't want to fix it. And you're like, if I was paying insane property taxes and they put a fucking gravel road in my neighborhood, I'd be livid. I'd be so pissed. So it's like, why are people moving? Like, well, why do you think you sold the library for like $3 million, $5 million, whatever it is? It's not enough. Because here's the flip side of that. We're selling the land the library's under, and now we're moving into rent. We're gonna have to rent a smaller space. And it's like, the cost of selling the library, it probably isn't gonna cover the demolition costs, let alone the moving cost, and then the lease for the first 5 years or whatever. Like, it's probably, from the very time you sign that piece of paper, it's an ROI negative deal. And so it's like, why did you make that deal? That's a terrible deal. Like, yes, I want a new library downtown. That's great. Yes, tall buildings downtown is cool because it makes us look like a real city, because we are a real city, goddammit. And more downtown is good because then you can get more businesses. The problem with the Omaha downtown is it's a very much Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Like, other than that, the downtown is kind of not that busy. Like, there are a lot more apartments and condos than there used to be, but like, it just doesn't feel like a city. It feels like this is where people go to work, and then they fuck off to the other end of town to go live. And on that end of town, you're like, okay, go live in West Omaha. But like, that's just all like wide roads that people drive way too fast on, and like shitty chain restaurants. Like, there's nothing cool. So like, there's this weird gray area that's kind of midtown. Midtown is kind of the really good spot. Is you're talking like, I'll like 30th to 72nd, kind of in that. That's where all the cool new stuff is happening. There's some good stuff downtown, and there is some cool stuff in West Omaha. But for the most part, it's kind of this central, the very central nugget of town is where all the good stuff is. Because that's where all the, the young professionals live. So it tracks, And I don't forget where I was going with that. Anyway, I'm mad about it. I like living here. I love Omaha. Some of the people, but that's everywhere. And there's a lot of like, well, just move. And you're like, well, I don't want to, because like, this is my hometown, and I want it to be better. And I think you should be allowed. I hate that fucking shit of like, oh, if you don't like it, leave. It's like, no, I like it. I want it to be better, and you should too. And here's how it can be improved. And these are things that I don't feel like are insane requests. Like, plow the fucking roads, shovel the fucking sidewalks, and like enforce people that don't. Because like the sidewalk, there's a law that like you have to shovel it after 24 or 48 hours after it snows, and there's no enforcement on that. Like, start writing some fucking tickets. Like, if you need the revenue, right there, boom, done. Bike lanes. That's another thing about the streetcar. We're doubling back. You got me all fired up. Angy. I have to start a new playlist called Angy Whispers. So the streetcar, they're Omaha finally, like in the last year, put in a quote pilot program for a protected bike lane. So it's a bike lane, which we have a couple bike lanes. We don't have enough because no one rides bikes in Omaha because we have a lot of fucking hills. But like now with like e-bikes and shit, it's coming along. Anyway, so they have a protected bike lane that's like, so they moved out, so you park and the bike lane's protected by the cars. It's good. It's amazing. The streetcar's gonna go in the fucking bike lane. So it feels like they only put the bike lane there so that's where they could be like, oh, that's where the streetcar's gonna go. And it's like, that is so just, and it feels kind of like a fuck you. It feels like either they're just so incompetent at their jobs that they don't realize what it looks like, or what it feels like is probably actually the case is they're being vindictive about it. Because just the type of people that our mayor and our city council are, they are the type of people to be like, like, fuck you. And it's just, oh man, so many things. I just, the fucking, it's the, and that's the problem. It's like the young people are moving out. The young people that would have even moderate politics, or I don't even think it's moderate politics. I think it's just that, like, if you're in Nebraska and you're a politician and you have a Republican thing next to your name, you're gonna get the votes. And so it's getting me to the point where I'm so angry. I want to run for. Maybe I should run for something, because I feel like I understand the job is not as easy as it seems, but like, it can't be as bad as these people are doing it. It can't be that fucking hard, right? Like, so, and I would run as a Republican because I think at the heart of, if I look at my politics, I'm pretty moderate. I feel like there's some things I'm for, some things I'm against in the progressive field. But I feel like I kind of would like to see a true third party start that's just called the fiscal party. And the idea is that government should exist to help people as much as it can. It's a trolley problem. I understand it. We can't, you can't just go full, like, oh, this all should be free. Because the tax at this tax, it's crazy progressive tax rate. That's going to be a hard sell. It might be the best way to do it, but it would take a long time to get there. You need the steps to get there, right? You can't just go from like crazy Republicans to crazy progressives. It doesn't work. Somewhere in the middle. So the fiscal party needs to look at things objectively and be like, okay, what is cheaper? Is it cheaper to plow the roads or let them get fucked up and fix them every year? And like, obviously it's gonna be cheaper to just plow the fucking roads. There's no accidents. Like, is it cheaper to have better trained cops or to pay the lawsuits? Like, probably fucking train catch-all for all these fucking problems. Like, there should be, like, emergency mental therapist people that are trained in de-escalating somebody that's going through a mental episode, and they should accompany a police. Like, a police officer should not have to fucking deal with that, right? So it's like, I want to make your job easier by giving you resources, and some of that will come from your police funding, because you don't need the fucking tank, right? You don't need the SWAT tank. What's going on in Omaha, fucking Nebraska, that you need a goddamn tank, right? Like, please sell the fucking tank for scrap and pay a therapist to have your fucking a therapist, and that person can teach you, can have the fucking weekly seminar on de-escalation training, and everybody can fucking take it, and you can stop shooting people, and they'll stop fucking suing the city, and then my fucking tax dollars won't have to go to it. It's like, I feel like, how is that a political argument of like, why do the fucking police need a tank? They don't need a fucking tank. There's no reason. Fired up. I'm angry about it. Got me all angry. These are supposed to be relaxing videos and I'm just angry. So, anyway, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're not angry like I am about things. I hope your local government is doing their jobs. Because mine's not. So, anyway, got this video started off about like how I feel good venting all that. It feels really good to just blow out all that fucking shit about that stuff. Also, so I have this back wall. This is completely unrelated. I want to put some art there, but I like have to fight with the girlfriend about what goes up there. I'm gonna just be like, no, babe, I'm gonna pick, because we have all this art that's like in the kitchen right now that like is not framed or is framed or is partially framed, and it's like I just want to put one or maybe two posters. Like I have these Obey posters. I have that one I like a lot. There's a fan. And then I also have, let me just pick this guy up. Try not to knock over my Celsius. I have this guy. It's Godzilla. It's pretty good. A messy desk. Ooh. Heavy little tripod. Yeah, I don't know. A tapestry I think would be cool, but I can't find any cool tapestries. So if you know any cool art, cool tapestries, cool stuff, just drop some links down below. I'm in the market, and I like supporting artists and buying stuff, buying art. I want to put art on my walls. I don't like these beige walls. I want to cover it. I'm slowly working my girlfriend into this idea of like having just shitloads of art, because I like that idea. I don't know if you've seen houses like that are like gallery style, where they like the old I think they call it gallery style. I could be completely wrong. I'm an idiot. Anyway, the old art galleries it was floor to ceiling. Like, how much fucking art can we jam in this bitch? And the new art gallery museums are like, each thing needs to have spice. And I'm like, no, give me all of it. I want to look in and just be like overwhelmed by the art, because that inspires me. Because then I don't know, I like that look. So I just want to like all over it and just crazy. That's why we need separate offices. That, and like, if I'm like focused on something, like small noises will annoy me. Like Bear annoys me sometimes when he like comes up and he's just like making my noises, doing slurps. That's what I call it when he like licks himself. Because it's like, and you're like, bro, you gotta stop that. And so it's just like, go get him a treat, and like, go eat your treat out there. I don't like shut the door on him or anything. The door's just shut because girlfriend's out there watching TV, and I didn't want to distract y'all folks with the sounds. Anyway, this video got way too long. I'm fired up. I'm angry. I'm gonna go work on this thing I don't want to finish, but I need to finish it because it's just been like a 10-month project, and it's like at the very end, and it's just, that's gonna be a whole other video.